YouTube, what's going on? My name is Argon. Welcome back to some Fortnite informational, instructional, and conversational type of content. Today I want to talk to you guys a little bit of a discussion, a little bit of a controversial topic that goes along in the community, and it's a pretty fun debate. I want to get in on it. I want to show you guys both sides of the coin, talk to you a little bit about controllers and keyboards, and which is the better or worse controller scheme or control scheme that you can use in Fortnite Battle Royale to help you get wins and whatever, do better. We're going to talk about which one's better, but before we move into that, before we go any further, I want to remind everybody, of course, we do a giveaway on this channel. Every single month, we give away free V-Bucks to the most active user. All you have to do is make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, make sure you're active in the comment section, follow me on Twitter for a better chance to win. Of course, the more active you are, the more likely I am to remember your name, and the more likely you are to win some V-Bucks. So far, we've done this 3 months in a row. We're going on the 4th month. It's a really fun time. A lot of people seem to be enjoying it, so get in there, get in on the action, and good luck. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys today about is why controllers are actually better than keyboards. Now, I'm not going to talk about console versus PC. That's a whole different subject. And now with the way that they support controllers and keyboard and mouse natively on both platforms, it's more of a discussion about which controller pad is better, whether it's the controller or the keyboard. Now, you've got many controller options. Of course, you can play with the default controller for your console like the PlayStation or the Xbox or the Switch. I'm not that familiar with Switch, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. We're going to talk mostly focusing on the PS4 and the Xbox One and why they are better controller schemes and what better tools you can use to play Fortnite than a keyboard and mouse, believe it or not. All you've ever probably heard all this time is that keyboard and mouse is superior, keyboard and mouse is superior, and for the most part, for the history of gaming, that's actually been true, that you can have actually way better control with keyboard and mouse. But the way that Fortnite has really modified the gameplay and really changed things up over time, it's really tried to balance the playing field with controllers and keyboard and mouse to now, honestly, there's not too much of a difference in what you can do with a controller versus what you can do with a keyboard and mouse. In fact, in many ways, a controller is better than a keyboard and mouse, and here's why. First of all, first and foremost, it's designed to fit your hands. Like, if you take a look at your hands right now, if you look at your hands, there's a natural curvature to your fingers. They don't always go straight, right? Like, that's not the way that your hands are designed. And they're just meant to be a little bit closed off, like almost half fist, if you will. Controllers are meant to just sit perfectly in that. Here's a little information for you in case you don't know. In case you don't remember, when the Xbox One was developed many years ago, they spent over $100 million developing just a controller. $100 million went in to design how that controller should look and feel so it could fit perfectly in your hand. And that's really, really a big deal. Keyboards are made for typing words, communicating. If you've ever looked at your keys and wondered why they're not alphabetically sorted, that's exactly why. The QWERTY keyboard is actually designed so that you can type with maximum efficiency. The letters are positioned in proper places to where your fingers can reach for the most commonly used letters in the English alphabet, at least. So that's why that keyboard looks that way. That's why we have a QWERTY keyboard. The keyboard is designed for communicating with typing, with words. It's not meant for gaming, but that's what we use it for now. Controllers are meant for gaming. Have you ever tried typing an email or a tweet using a controller? It's hard. It's not easy. It takes forever, especially if you're not really fast at it. It's not meant for that. It's meant for holding and being able to use those buttons really quickly and apply them for gaming. That's a really, really big deal. Now, when it comes to how you actually play with the controller in game, the movements that you can control with your controller are way better. You can control all your character movements with just your thumbs. Your left thumbstick controls a lot of the movement, and then your right thumbstick controls your aiming. That pretty much covers all the movement you could be making in a game of any type, actually. That's not just applied to Fortnite. But with a keyboard, however, you have to use 3 of your left fingers for movement and your entire right hand for movement. That's a lot of commitment. You wouldn't have to use 3 fingers. You're using literally 2 fingers for all the movement, and they're your thumbs, which are the most versatile fingers that you've got. It's a really, really big advantage for a controller. Along with the categories of ergonomics, which, by the way, in case you don't know what ergonomics are, ergonomics is the study and the design work that goes into making things comfortable to use. That's basically what ergonomics is. I'm sure you've heard it. You may not have just ever heard the definition. But along with the ergonomics of a controller, they're just positioning all the buttons, and this is part of the ergonomics, to make maximum use of your fingers. If you think about how you're actually applying your fingers to the controller buttons, like they're positioned in proper locations so that you can reach them easily with the fingers that you have available without having to strain your fingers too much. Anybody who's ever started using a keyboard and tried playing any type of game, any type of shooter game with a keyboard and mouse has probably experienced some finger fatigue or hand fatigue in a short amount of time, versus if you picked up a controller, you could just sit and play and chill out and hang out and not have a problem with it. If you go even further, now I'm gonna talk mostly, I haven't really been differentiating here between default controllers or any modified controllers, but if we're gonna talk about that, we're talking about gaming. You're probably gonna be buying a gaming keyboard and mouse. It's gonna run you around $100 minimum. We can actually probably compare a default controller to a scuff-like controller we could pick up for about 150 bucks versus the $50 or $60 default controllers. This is something that we should be talking about with the scuff. You can actually maximize your usage big time. So you can use more fingers and less of your thumbs and really focus on certain aspects of control with just your thumbs, whereas you start to incorporate your other fingers, not just your index fingers. This really maximizes the use of your fingers in doing specific functions that you have to do, use multiple fingers in order to do when it comes to playing with a keyboard and mouse. Like, for example, the movement. Like I said, again, it takes 3 fingers just to move around without even turning to look. That's just to strafe and walk forward and backward. That takes 3 fingers. There's no function on a controller that requires 3 fingers. It's all maximum is 2 fingers or 1 finger. It's very useful, very utility, and allows you to play for a much longer time without getting fatigued. Another thing we're talking about fatigue, and this is something that's a benefit to controller, and this benefits more the casual player, so we're not talking too much about scuffs versus defaults or gaming keyboards and mouse. But let's say you're a guy who just wants to come home and throw on Spider-Man or something like that, and you just want to play on your couch and play on your TV and sit back, kick back with a beer or something, or a drink of some kind, whatever you want to play. You want to sit back with a controller, you want to just enjoy the experience. I know I've done that before. Like, whenever I play a campaign of some kind, the only time I want to play at my setup with my monitors and my headphones and all like my try-hard gear is when I'm really competing in multiplayer. That's when I really care that I actually am really involved in the game and really up close. But when I play a campaign, like a game that they've taken a lot of time and effort to build the campaign and make it really sound great and look great, I want to sit back on a couch and enjoy it on a nice big TV for all of its beauty and sound and all that. I don't want to sit at a little tiny desk. And you know what? You can't do that with a controller. You can't do that with a keyboard and mouse. You have to have a controller. You could sit back on your couch with a controller in your lap and just sit there and relax and play. Like, you cannot do that with a keyboard and mouse. That's another nice thing that has for the casual person, which is kind of like what consoles kind of tend to lean towards anyways, more of a casual gameplay, just because you're not having to invest as much, but definitely is a big bonus of using a controller. Of course, you could always plug a controller into a PC and then you'd have the same effect. You just have to make sure that you have a really long USB cord, because they don't, connect wirelessly. The next thing that we're going to talk about, guys, is that they're just more affordable. Now, again, not talking scuff. If we talk just default controls, which you could do a lot with the default controls nowadays in Fortnite, you can buy an entire controller scheme for 60 bucks out of the box. Done deal. You don't have to buy anything else ever again. You don't have to worry about replacing anything or buying mouse pads or any of that crap. 60 bucks, you're done. You could even pick one up on sale, 30 bucks, 40 bucks, whatever it is. They go on sale all the time. Or it just comes with your PlayStation or Xbox. It's really that easy. Keyboard and mouse, they're way more expensive. And even like the basic gaming keyboard, if you're gonna buy that way, like a mechanical keyboard, you can't buy one for less than really 50 bucks, to be honest. And then a mouse, same thing, 20-30 bucks minimum. You're in the hole. If you're gonna buy anything halfway decent, you're gonna spend about 100 bucks for like a Logitech or a Corsair or something that's a known brand. Of course, you can buy off brands. You take your chances with that. There's a lot of stuff that's made in China that's not the best quality. Maybe it's kind of whack. I know my little cousin, poor kid, bought something out of Walmart for cheap and it didn't even work with his PlayStation. Yes, he was trying to keyboard on PlayStation mouse, but that's there, it's native, it's supported, and now that they've split lobbies for people that are keyboarding versus using controller, it's totally legal. But either way, he bought a keyboard and mouse and it didn't work with his console. It's just really unfortunate. He didn't have a PC to test it with to make sure that it would work there, but still, you have to invest a decent amount of money in order to use a keyboard and mouse. With a controller, you don't have to. Every $50 controller is the same. There's no such thing as you buy one and it doesn't work. It's gonna work. It's gonna work the same as everybody else. And then you have the choice to go upgrade to a much more expensive controller that does a lot more, that does more that you want. So that's, a nice, really a key factor here for a lot of gamers that maybe can't afford to spend a lot of money on gaming. Now we can talk about the actual gameplay that's involved with a controller versus keyboard and mouse. The big thing that comes with a controller, the biggest advantage, even from day one, is auto aim. Now, if you've never played with auto aim, you should try plugging in a controller and checking it out and just see how strong the auto aim. In Fortnite, especially, the auto aim is really strong. One really good way to figure out how good the auto aim is go and use your mobile iOS or Android device and play some mobile games and see just how much your reticle will trace and track a target just because the auto aim. Like, it's really bad on mobile. It's not that bad on console, but with a controller in general, you're gonna pick up that auto aim. That's a huge bonus, especially when you can do little tricks like, you know, you ADS or aim down sight or targeting, I think they call it in Fortnite. You could toggle back and forth between targeting, that way you can reset your auto aim, because once you target somebody, the auto aim you have to track after that. The auto aim really only works as you're targeting somebody, right before you target, so there's like a little transition period. It's not going to track somebody for you. So but if you keep toggling, you know, tapping your targeting button back and forth over and over again, it's going to just keep tracking. I know a lot of people have done videos on this. It's a really big advantage to people who are using controllers. The next part of it was the biggest advantage to using keyboard and mouse all along was that they had custom keybinds. Number one reason why people use keyboard and mouse. Now, ever since they created Builder Pro, that gap really small. It got really small, to be honest. And the only real difference was whether or not you could instantly edit like you can on keyboard and mouse, which is a huge advantage as well. Now, with the custom keybinds, that's an option. You do have to sacrifice something. You still won't have access to everything that you want with this nuke. If you have to do something where you're adding a specified button or a dedicated button just to edit instantly rather than hold to edit, you are going to lose functionality somewhere, so that's a disadvantage. However, overall, the controller keybind schemes over time have developed to favor console players or controller players, so that they have a better close the gap a bit between keyboard players and controller players. So even there, the gap has closed. But that's what I think for now, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Are you a controller player or a keyboard and mouse player? And don't worry, the keyboard better than controllers discussion's coming up soon. I got one for you. Don't worry. Don't feel bad. Don't feel like you're getting left out here. But hopefully you did enjoy this video. If you did, guys, make sure you leave a like. If you are new here, make sure you subscribe. And if you're not following me on social media, those links are down in the description below. And as always, guys, my name is Argon, and may you never die to a bush. Peace.